Hi everybody, I thought I would post a video to share a little bit what my thoughts were and hopes are for this group, and also to introduce myself. Lots of you know me, but lots of you don't. So I'm Frederique Begin. Lots of people call me Freddie. I came here from the United States when I was in elementary school and none of my friends could pronounce my name, so I very quickly became Freddie and it stuck. I am a licensed independent clinical social worker. I'm also a certified holistic psychotherapist and a parent coach. And I've been working with children and families for over 25 years now in all sorts of capacities. I've worked in residential programs for kids and teenagers that could no longer stay at home because of behavioral problems. I've worked in a school for children with special needs. I've worked in a trauma clinic, both doing direct care and forensic evaluations, and of course my own practice, among other places. And in that time, in those places, I've helped children and families with a whole variety of issues, everything from grief and illness, obviously lots of different kinds of trauma, anxiety, depression, ADHD, family conflict, you name it. And I've learned a lot in that time about what children need and how to support families and how to teach parents to be able to meet their kids' needs a little bit more effectively. And I've really loved my work. Another job that I'm really loving is that of a mom. I am the parent of two amazing, sensitive, bright, and very intense and strong-willed kids. And when I became a mom, I absolutely understood that that was going to be a very different job from being a child therapist or a parent coach, and I knew that there was going to be a lot to learn. But I had no idea how steep the learning curve actually would be. My kids were pretty easy as babies, and then they became toddlers. And their strong wills came out, and they were incredibly assertive and willful and challenging and also wonderful. I'm very fortunate. We are very well matched. We like a lot of the same things. We think and feel very similarly about many issues. And so when things were good, things were really good. But when things weren't good, they were really, really hard. We had some big power struggles, some big blowout fights, and I was scratching my head and just not understanding what was happening. I was way more effective in my office than I was being at home, and it was breaking my heart. That was not at all what I wanted for my relationship with my kids. So I took a long, hard look at what was happening in that dynamic. Now, when I became a mom, I promised myself that I would only be mom at home. I was not going to be a therapist at home. But what I didn't realize, though in theory that's a good approach, I was missing the benefit of all of my clinical expertise to really better understand and better respond to what was happening. So I put that belief aside and I put on my clinical hat and took a really long, hard look at what I was seeing in my kids and what I was seeing in myself. And I was kind of surprised at what I found. Although we had lots of love and connection and there were lots of really amazing, great things happening, we also were missing some skills. And frankly, I had some skills that I was not using at home. And so when conflicts happened, we were coming from a place of defensiveness and fear instead of a place of love. And this was especially surprising and heartbreaking for me. I am a person with a deep faith and a spirituality I've practiced for a really long time. I believe very deeply in love, not as a noun, only as a noun, but as a verb. I think that it is the way to respond to most everything in this world. And so to find that I was coming from a place of defensiveness and fear and that my children were too instead of love, I saw it as a big problem, and I knew that that was something that we had to shift. So I committed to doing that. I committed to letting love guide me. Letting love and light be my compass. And when I was moving away from that and I could feel fear and anger coming up, using that as a little bit of a alarm that you're getting on the wrong path and you got to shift back a little bit. Now, when I started making those shifts, there were people around me that were questioning what I was doing. Aren't you being too soft on those boys? You know, the world is a hard place. The world is not going to treat them with kid gloves. And those questions weren't wrong. They were coming from a place of fear and worry. And I would be lying if I said I never had those concerns either. Oh my gosh, we really have to teach these boys to manage themselves differently. And if I'm just snuggling up on them and loving them and supporting them, what kind of messages am I sending? But luckily, informed by my spirituality and also by my many years of clinical experience where I had been really effective with kids using these exact same approaches, I felt confident enough to stick to my guns and say, no, this is the path with these kids. This is what I'm going to do. And happily, I was rewarded really greatly and saw incredible changes in them pretty immediately, pretty quickly. And it was not that we were no longer having meltdowns or big feelings. We are intense and have big feelings. That's sort of how we roll in our family. So that wasn't going to stop. But the way that those meltdowns were happening and the way I was responding to them had changed pretty significantly. The meltdowns were happening less frequently, with less intensity. And I could also tell that even in the middle of really hard moments, my children knew that I would love them and hug them and problem solve them through whatever the challenge was. So we felt much more aligned, like we were on the same team. And the other really cool thing is that my husband, who I of course shared, this is how I want to approach them, this is what I'm going to do in my relationship with them, but I also really understood that he needed to figure out his own relationship with the kids. So I didn't force any of this on him. But my husband watched these changes that I made with the boys and started seeing the kind of results I was getting. And so then he started making those shifts, which was really amazing. So we all started becoming more aligned with one another, speaking the same language, and thereby becoming more aligned with the universe. So life was happening with much greater ease and flow and joy. We are a family that loves to adventure. We love to travel. And all of a sudden we had more resources available for those things. We had more time and energy. We felt like going out in the world together and celebrating and enjoying. And so we're getting to do that a lot more, which is really exciting. The other exciting piece was that I was having these successes at home. I was bringing them into my work in my practice and becoming an even more effective therapist and really empowering families to make these changes in big ways so that they could see those same results at home. And they were coming back with all sorts of exciting, wonderful stories about the shifts that they were seeing and experiencing. So I loved that. That was incredibly fulfilling. What I loved less was the fact that then they were sharing with their friends and family, oh my gosh, we're really having a lot of success. You're having these same struggles, please contact Frederique Begin, she can help you. And my practice was completely overfull, still is. There's not one more hour I can squeeze out of my week. And so I was having to turn families away, families that really were in need. And while there are lots of other wonderful therapists, they are often booked as well. And so families that I was sending out with different kinds of referrals were coming back to me 2 months, 6 months, sometimes 2 years later saying, please, don't you have an opening yet? And I would have to say, I don't, I'm so sorry. So I really was thinking about how can I make some of these strategies and ideas more available. There are people who are suffering and struggling. There are kids who aren't getting what they need. And I really believe that the more we can support these kids in the way that they need to be supported, we are raising human beings, we are raising soon-to-be adults who are better equipped, not only with emotional, social skills, but also with really solid self-esteem. So this felt really important to me. So therefore the inspiration for this group, I thought, aha, this is a way that I can get a lot of information out. We can all support and share our ideas and our experiences and begin to transform our families and stop the conflicts and the power struggles and the suffering that's happening. So that is my hope for this group, that we can all share and inspire and support each other with everything that we're managing. And I commit to sharing whatever tools and techniques and strategies I have. I will pay attention to what the themes are that I'm hearing in the group and responding to those. I really encourage you all to do the same. So much of what I have learned in my career has come from the families that I've worked with. So it's really a community where we share and learn from one another. That's my hope for this group. So please don't be shy. If you have a question, post your question. If you have a suggestion, something that's worked with you, with your kids, post away, share away. We really love that. Also, if you feel like you need more support than what you're finding in the group, please don't hesitate, but feel invited to PM me. I really welcome your questions. Like I said, both in the group, but also privately. I'm happy to answer questions, offer support in whatever ways feel useful. So that's my hope for this group. We've had a super exciting start, and I'm really looking forward to where we take this. I know it's going to go great places. Thanks everybody for participating, and looking forward to reading and learning and hearing from you all. All right, take care.